Why, hello there, kids. Welcome back to Sunday School. I'm so glad you could join us again this week. I've got a few things I wanted to show you here. Do you all know what these are? Look how pretty those bottles are. Do you know what these are? These are bottles of perfume. And they smell so beautiful. This is Mr. Eric and Miss Gina's perfume that we might wear when we want to feel fancy. But this perfume, it smells beautiful. Can you tell me some things that you think smell beautiful? What are some things that you really like the smell of? I really like the smell of flowers. They smell beautiful. To me, pizza smells beautiful. How about in the morning after a rain, that smell of the fresh rain, that smells beautiful. Some people really like the smell of fresh cut grass. To me, Mr. Eric, that makes me sneeze, but some people like that smell. Everybody's different, but what do you really enjoy the smell of? Good. Well, in today's story, you remember we've been talking about making choices, and we're gonna learn about a lady and a choice that she made. And you kind of see Mr. Eric's hair. I've been working real hard this week to grow it out and get it longer and beautiful and pretty. Do you like it? Thinking about keeping it this way. What do you think? But some hints for our story today are going to be perfume, hair, and feet. I hope my feet are clean, but I want you to grab your Bible, have an adult help you turn to John chapter 12. And as you can see by my Bible, that's in the second half of the Bible, so that's the New Testament. And can you repeat after me? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're going to be in John chapter 12. So have an adult help you find John chapter 12. And we're going to start in the first verse. And we're going to learn about a lady who made a choice to show love to Jesus. Okay? Mr. Eric's going to grab his glasses. Find that in John chapter 12. And listen for those hints about the perfume, the hair, and the feet, okay? So John chapter 12, well, Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. Can you say Jerusalem? And he was with his special helpers, the disciples. On the way, Jesus stopped in the town of Bethany to see his friends Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Can you say Mary, Martha, and Lazarus? They gave a special dinner for Jesus and his helpers. The people gathered all around the table, and Martha worked all day cleaning the house and preparing the food for the meal. So Martha served the food. Mary took an expensive bottle of perfume and poured it on Jesus' feet. She wiped his feet with her hair, and the beautiful scent of that perfume filled the whole house where they were at. One of Jesus' helpers was watching this, and he got a whiff of that perfume, and he got to thinking. He told Jesus, why wasn't this perfume sold and all of that money used to help the poor people? Well, Jesus said, leave Mary alone. That's what he told his helper. Leave Mary alone. Jesus knew that pouring that perfume on his feet was Mary's way of saying, I love you, Jesus. Mary had chosen to do something. Jesus knew that she loved him. So she chose to do something to show her love to Jesus, and that made Jesus very happy. So in our story today, Mary made the choice to show love to Jesus, and by showing that, making that choice to show love to Jesus, she was obeying God. Let's look at our picture for today. Can you see that there? Who do you think those people are? Do you see, what is this lady right here doing? Can you see what she's doing? It looks like she's got some food in her hand and she's probably serving the meal. Who do you think that is? What's her name? That's right, that's Martha. Let's see, and who is down here in the bottom sitting? Can you see who that is? What's happening there? Looks, you see that little bottle right there that's being poured on his feet? So that must be Jesus. Very good. Okay, so if that's Jesus, what is this lady doing right here? And what's her name? Do you remember what her name is? That's right, her name was Mary, and she was pouring, what is she pouring? Perfume on Jesus's feet, and she's choosing to show love to Jesus and choosing to obey God. That's right. So she is spending time with Jesus and showing him that she loves him by pouring perfume on his feet and washing his feet with her hair. Back then, that was a sign of showing love. And who do you think this is then? Do you see him there? He's kind of looking on like, what do you think he's thinking? That must be one of Jesus's helpers. And he was thinking, oh, why is she wasting that perfume? That perfume could have been sold and the money used for the poor people. But Jesus said, leave Mary alone. She is showing that she loves me. That's right. So Mary, in our story, chose to show love to Jesus and chose to obey God. Very good. So that was our hints with our hair, our perfume, and our feet with our story today. So our verse for today is found in in the book of John, chapter 21, verse 17. And the verse is, I love you, Jesus. And we've got some motions to go with that. Can you do those with me? It's I love you, and then this is Jesus. Just kind of pointing to your hands. Let's do that together. I love you, Jesus. Let's do that one more time. I love you, Jesus. And that's in John 21, verse 17. So remember in our story today that Mary chose to show love to Jesus and chose to obey God. So as you're going about and out this week, I want you to think of ways that you can choose to obey Jesus, you can choose to love Jesus, to show your love to Jesus, and choose to obey God. And what are some ways you think you could do that at your house or in your neighborhood or when you're out this week? Do you think maybe you could help mom and dad around the house? That would be a way to show love or choose to show love to Jesus and choose to obey God by honoring your parents, doing what they tell you to, by keeping your room clean, or by sharing with your brother and sister, or by helping the poor or helping the sick. Those are all good ways that you can choose to show love to Jesus and choose to obey God.
Hi preschoolers, welcome to Cooking with Martha. In our Bible story today, Martha worked very hard preparing a meal for Jesus and his helpers. And you know, when you're making food, when you're preparing and your mom is making something in the kitchen, there's something that she often may need. Do you know what this is, preschoolers? Have you ever seen your mom pull out a card like this, or maybe a book? This is called a recipe. And a recipe gives you instructions on how to cook. Did you know that God gave us instructions on how to live our life? And it's called His Word, the Bible. So today, just like Martha cooked and prepared a meal for Jesus, in Martha's kitchen today, Miss Gina is going to prepare a chicken quesadilla. So one of the things when you prepare something or you make something or you cook something, one of the very first things that you need to do is go over the sink and make sure your hands are washed with soap and water. You may not be able to see Miss Gina doing this, but I'm washing my hands and getting them good and clean so I can cook and be safe in my kitchen. So after I wash and dry my hands, I'm going to gather my ingredients for what I'm cooking. And what we're going to cook today, like I said, is a chicken quesadilla, which basically a quesadilla is like a grilled cheese sandwich on a tortilla. So what I have here to cook today, I have a tortilla, I have some chicken, I have some cheese, and then a lot of times people like salsa and sour cream to go on their quesadilla to eat it. So we won't be cooking with those, but those are used to go on top or to decorate it afterwards. So the first thing I'm going to do, friends, is I've got my skillet here. It's on warm on the stove. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in my skillet so my quesadilla does not stick. You hear it sizzling there, my butter. And then I'm going to take my quesadilla and I'm going to put it in my skillet and kind of just move it around so some of the butter gets on my quesadilla so it does not stick in my skillet. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my cheese and I'm going to sprinkle it all over my quesadilla. Then I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to spread it out a bit. And then I'm going to get some of my chicken here and I'm going to spread some of my chicken on my quesadilla as well. Now we will wait a few minutes and watch for our cheese to start melting, okay? So in our Bible story today, you may remember that Jesus and his helpers, they went to Mary and Martha and Lazarus' house. And while they were there, Martha prepared a meal. And preparing that meal was one of the ways that she showed Jesus and his helpers how much she loved and she cared for them. And that's a lot of times as a mom or as a dad, when we are working and cooking for our families, that's one of the ways that we can show our families that we love and we care about them. And that's what God wants us to do. All right, friends, I see that my cheese is melting, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my quesadilla and I'm going to bend it in half and push it down here. You can see that some of the cheese is sticking, and then I'm going to flip it over here with my fork. And some people may use a spatula for this. And this is definitely something that if you're at the stove, that this is something that mom and dad can definitely help you with. So that you're safe in the kitchen. All right, it looks like my cheese is nice and toasty and my chicken is too. So I am going to move my quesadilla here to my plate. I'm going to turn my stove off so it is getting cooler. And then I'm going to get a pizza cutter is what I use to cut my quesadilla. And then I have a very special guest that's going to be taste testing in my kitchen today. You may recognize him as Mr. Eric from Sunday School. And Mr. Eric, are you ready to taste test my cheese and chicken quesadilla?
Oh yeah, it smells beautiful.
So there you go, Mr. Eric. And here is you some sour cream and some salsa. You want to show your friends what you do with your quesadillas?
Little bit of sour cream on each one. And then a little bit of salsa on each one. Isn't that pretty?
So friends, to end our little cooking video with Martha today, what I will remind you is Martha showed her love for Jesus by cooking and preparing a meal. Mary showed her love for Jesus by putting perfume on his feet. Think about some of the ways that we can show love to Jesus and our family and our friends, and how we can obey God and make good choices. Have a good day.